Call the meeting to order. First order of business is any additions or deletions. Do we have any additions or deletions in?
No additions.
Approval of the Selectboard Minutes of 9/5.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Corrections, comments? No? All those in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Pay orders. Pay orders for September 19th, 2023. We have the amount of $38,570.12.
I make a motion to approve the pay orders of $38,570.12.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Road Commissioners report. Grader loan document. This, we just need a signature of the board, Julie.
Yes.
This reflects the change to 5 years.
Yes.
So I guess that in the meeting, well, everybody will have to sign that. Oh,
Is there a motion, are we gonna do this by consensus or do we vote?
I can make a motion.
Okay. I'll second. All right.
all those in favor?
Question. Sorry. Now I'm reading it. How much was the total on the grader? Was it the total of?
We had a $25,000 trade-in, so.
Right. But the 266,500 is the total amount?
It's the, after the trade-in.
After the trade.
Okay, and I thought we were using some, other funds to help pay for part of this?
The Revenue Augmentation Trust.
So that
Yes.
doesn't mature until December.
Right.
Exactly.
So you gotta borrow the money to hold it until then?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we can pay it down.
That's
pay it
what I
off
was-
Whenever we want.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
So the total was $291,500.
Okay. I just knew there was other funds gonna pay it off, but I just was curious on where they were.
Yep,
Okay, all set, thank you.
so all those in favor of signing the note?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Go ahead, Phil.
I was down this morning down there to shop, and I was also talking with Sandy earlier about this. They need to put some more lights on that grader and some more signs in the back for insurance reasons. My theory is get it to work. Can't believe we need to put more lights on that grader, as many as it has on it flashing now. Why can't we use it in a slow time? Put some lights on. They may have done it today, because he talked about today doing it. I just think it needs to be out and be working.
Should've been out, they got here, been a while.
Well, came Friday afternoon,
Oh, I
I
know.
left
Yeah,
on
I know.
vacation Saturday.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know, I just, that's something we ought to be able to do at our leisure, not have to do it on a brand new machine. I just think it should go to work. So they need to get the road edges cut in so we can get pavement coming. It's headed towards October already. And stuff. I just want to know what the board's thought was on that.
How long does it take to get lights on it?
Well, I don't know, 2-3 days maybe. I don't know what they're doing. I don't exactly know. I know they gotta put a strobe light on it. And they're gonna put some warning lights in the back.
And those
Slow
2, 3
moving
days you
signs.
could really use to get work done.
Seems like you spend 300,000 for a machine, it ought to come equipped with enough lights to go down the road.
I would think so. I didn't really pay attention when I looked at it, but I mean.
There's a lot of them. You know, they all flash, and if they're gonna run into that, it doesn't matter whether you got a strobe light on top or not, they're gonna run into it. You know, so. I think when they have a few minutes, they should be able to put the 2 or 3 little things that's needed to finish out, so it's insurance worthy.
Sounds reasonable.
Like I said, it may have been done today, he may have been able to find a light today to put on it.
I would think that when they were talking about putting lights on the grader and stuff, they were looking at the old grader at that point in time.
Well, it all came about because of the backhoe accident, so they want those lights on everything, they said no. Backup lights and all, the siren and triangle sign.
And full rotating lights 360 degrees so they can see them,
Yeah.
so. Besides that, I guess the salt,
Yep, that's next. Yep.
the salt thing was there,
Cargill and Apalachee.
yeah,
Cargill's was 86.50. It's only $1 more than last year. Apalachee's was 90.
we ran with that,
Cargill last year.
Cargill last year.
Yeah, you liked it better anyways.
I'm just gonna say it was a finer salt, it didn't have so many clumps in it. I think we should stay with them.
I got a strobe at the house, now that I think about it, small one, about so big, strobe, it's a permanently mounted thing, but I can drop it off.
Is it fully rotational, 360?
It's 360
Yeah.
view, yeah. I'll drop it off, if they can use it, use it.
Okay, perfect.
Had it for like 10 years, just sitting in a box.
Wow. Well, guess what? I think we found a use for it.
I did, yes, one less thing in my garage.
There we go. Now a little less of an insurance worry, so.
So can I get a motion to,
How much thing?
on the salt?
I make a motion to go with Cargill for our, winter salt.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And they do need to get going on the grader end of it to get the roads prepped for Wilt. I'm not sure when he's coming, but I will find that out this coming week. See if I can get him roughly a schedule. And then the culvert that was on Dawson Hill, and I'm darned if I can remember the gentleman's name.
Holden.
Holden. Charlie went up and replaced that. He dig safed it earlier in the week and replaced it on Friday, I think it was. And it was collapsed totally in the middle. An old style culvert.
Mr. Holden called me and thanked the town and Charlie specifically for it. He's very appreciative.
Yep. He did a good job.
Yep. The FEMA rep's gonna be here tomorrow, Wednesday at 10.
Wednesday at 10, yes.
Sandy, what information do you still need?
I need all of the descriptions of the damage of every road.
And you don't have all the descriptions yet?
I don't have any.
Don't have any descriptions?
We need priorities of each road and amounts for a handful still, how much damage is on each.
And you need that by Wednesday?
Well, no,
When?
FEMA wants it by then,
Okay.
when we have 60 days from September 6th to do it. so.
Okay, so 60 days from September 6th?
Yes.
But we need to get on it.
There you go.
I don't have a whole lot. Gonna,
Honorable mentions. Charlie Woods, we want to thank him for swimming out to the dock at Elfin Lake and bringing the dock back to the public beach for winter storage.
That is going above and beyond.
Although they say that water out there is still very warm. So.
Yeah.
Public comments. Michael.
Certainly. So, as you know, each year the Wallingford Fire Department does a coin drop on Route 7 on roughly the first holiday weekend in October. We have filed for the permit with the state, and we have the state authorization who has signed it. The police agency that signed it was Rutland County Sheriff's Department. They normally sign it each year. So those are signed, it's signed off. We're looking at October 7th is the day that we're looking at doing it, and the rain date is the next day, October 8th. So in the 9 years that I've been here, we haven't had to use the rain date yet. So I really don't know how it works, but I'm assuming that it works, right? So whatever we do for that. So we always come to the selectmen, make them aware of what we're doing, get their graces on it, because that's who's going to get phone calls probably if there's some issues or whatever. We've never had a traffic snafu. We've had a high-speed police chase that went through about 4 years ago. So that worked out good. There's always a Manchester ambulance or something that had come through. We've all got radios, we hear things coming, we clear the street, we do good. So we haven't had any issues there as of yet. Not saying that there couldn't be some sort of problem, but normally people do pretty well. They expect it on that weekend. So the only other one that I know is going on is I think there's something up Killington Way that day as well, but there's nothing around here. So Danby's not doing one and Clarendon's not doing one and that type of thing. So I have a copy of the permit that is signed and ready to go. If you guys would like to have a copy of that. I don't remember if we filed one with you each year or not, but I have it here if you want it. You can certainly have it. So that's the goal for now, is to make it aware when it is, so if there are any phone calls or anything, and get your thoughts and graces on it. So we can do that.
Would
This is the money that we use at the fire department that is not taxpayer money to do things for the firefighters, for the fire station, for things that we need to do that we don't have in our normal budget for the fire station. So these type of sweatshirts that we have for people, these are $90 each. The Class A uniforms that you see that we use in the parades and things, those are upwards of $600 each. We have tables and chairs to replace. We have the old girl to keep going. And it's also a little bit of a bank for members that have problems, right? So if there's hospital bills that they can't pay, or if there's something going wrong, we're not gonna pay people's mortgages and things, so we don't do that. But what we do is if there's something that we have to help out somebody with, then we're able to do something with that. So it's things that we don't want to put through the operational budget. So anything operational comes out of our budget, fuel and tires and fix the trucks and do all of those type of things, air packs, any of that we take out of the budget that we have through the Prudential Committee and the town, of course, because you guys donate a lot of money to that. So this is the things that we can use that we don't ask the town for, that we don't have to ask for, but we want to make you aware of this. So that's where we are. Are there any questions or any thoughts? Or anything that we missed? And I know I didn't get on the agenda, I just couldn't remember, do we call ahead for the agenda or do we just come in? So if I bumbled it either way, I apologize.
Do we need to make a motion on this?
We can't do that tonight. It's not on the agenda.
I'm not sure that we have to have.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
Even Siri's trying to chime in. So I'm not sure, it's a state permit, and we discuss this each year, so I'm not sure that we need to do that, but I can't, in good conscience, not let the town know what we're doing, right? So we're doing it, we do it every year, and we come through and we get it done.
We've always voted on it before. I mean, I'm not sure, Mark would know. Nelson for years voted no. And some years they didn't have it because Nelson wasn't.
It was mainly,
Did
I
always
think
vote
his
no.
problem was the location of.
Right.
I think for at least the last 9 years that I've done it with it, Nelson has been on board with it.
He has.
Because we've been up front, but I hear tales of there was a year that there was a no. I don't know the circumstances, I wasn't here. And it's, as anything that's 15 years old, there's 10 different
Right.
stories and versions, and I don't know what
I was just pointing out that the select board did always vote on it, that's all. The select board always gave, voted approval.
We can put it on the next agenda for
Okay.
approval.
Is that before the event? Yeah, looks like the 1st is the 2nd. Monday the 2nd, so we'll be able to vote on it then.
Do you need a presence from the fire department then?
No,
I would
Just the
say,
application, I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
yeah,
And can I get a sense of, is it going to be okay? I've got a lot of resources tied up in this, people coming in and signs and all of that stuff. So if there's gonna be no votes or whatever, let's discuss it.
That would be, again, that would be an agenda item next
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay.
I don't foresee that, but, I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
I get it.
Somebody in town may have a problem with it, so, that's why it has to go on the next
Yeah, it has to be
agenda,
on
so
the agenda.
it can be warned appropriately.
Sure, yeah. So we can certainly do that, and we want to satisfy everybody, we want everybody to be happy, we want it to get done and do all that. So, the folks from the state don't see it the same way. They see it, here's your permit, go ahead. And in 9 years, I've never been asked for a permit, no policeman has ever asked me for it, no state person has come along and do it. But the year I don't have a permit, or it's not down there, that's when there'll be something goes wrong, and do you have a
And
permit?
I think if you don't get the state permit, the town won't approve it either, so.
Well, if you don't get the state permit, you don't get to be on a state
Right.
road, so that would shut that off, so. But they've been very good with it, we work with the same people each year, they look at it, and, anyway, so, you know the routine, the Rotary does it as well, right? So those are the only two in town that I've ever seen doing it, I don't know if other people ask or not, but, I've only seen the Rotary Day, and the Rotary does theirs in July-ish, I think, June-ish, July-ish, something like that, and we do the one in the fall. So we don't want to do them back-to-back, people get tired of that stuff, so. Okay, so if we don't have to be present for that, that will be fine. I'm going to try to be here, but I don't think so. I think I'm on an airplane that night, so I may not, but I may have somebody stop by to just to answer questions. Do you want a copy of the permit?
Sure, yes.
We'll leave one of those with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, that's a copy, thank you.
Thank you.
all right, sir. It's here for,
Are we doing the Rutland County Sheriff?
It's after the sheriff's.
What's after, okay.
so we're up to Rutland County Sheriff, July activity log. Reason we asked you, David, here tonight was I have several concerns on some of the time on this activity log. The thing that caught my eye initially was the hour that we paid for an officer to be in Rutland at a memorial service. I don't think that was appropriate.
No, that was an oversight because all the officers from my office did go and they should have been billing an admin time, which is out of my budget. And it was, that was an oversight on the approval of that, so that can be changed.
Some of the other things were like, there was like 5.5 hours of time charged that you're working with the state police. There's a lot of time here where it appears that you're working at the sheriff's office itself. We're being billed for it.
If they're doing casework, then from the town, then yes, you would get a bill for when they're working at the office to do cases and things like that.
And, sorry, what about for dinner breaks?
This one has some dinner breaks on it. Typically, 95% of the time you won't even see that because they're in the car. They're either eating in the car or they're stopped at one of the stores or something like that. If they do take a break, I mean, a lot of times they have, if they're at our office or at the state police barracks, it's usually because they have some sort of informational meeting. Like when we had car breaks, we also had the gentleman of Pop 140 that had federal involvement, that we had involvement with that case as well. That took some time, which is actually still ongoing. I just met with them, ATF, last week with this, so that was some of it. On some of those breaks where they'll have dinner when they're there, they'll probably have pizza or whatever they brought with them, but they're also sitting in a room like this and they'll go over information on cases. Because when the state police is on, when we're not here, they get a lot of the same or similar cases that we have. So they look for links from information that we may have gathered versus what they have in their investigations as well.
In a couple of these, like end of shift paperwork at the gas station in West Rutland.
Yeah, I'm not sure why she decided to put that on, that she got gas there. End of shift paperwork is these reports that you get.
Right.
We also have job orders that they have to fill out to show what for the time billing for the day. If they have casework to put away, or if we have a computer system where they have to enter everything into it, so they have to take time to do that. If it's something extensive, smaller things they can do right from the vehicle. But if they have like an accident case or something they're working on, they have a lot of paperwork where they have to spread out, and actually, it's really hard to do in the car. They don't have enough room to get everything out in draw diagrams and stuff like that, so.
One other one was this break from sitting in the cruiser. Apparently it took place back at the office in Rutland. I mean, there's 3 hours there.
Yeah, the 16 to 17, she met with a supervisor on a case that she had going that she needed some guidance on. I'm not sure about the first entry log.
I do not have an explanation on that one.
I mean, it doesn't seem appropriate that we get billed.
Yeah, that's another adjustment I can make for that hour as well. We have had a personnel change here. You no longer have this deputy working in town. So you have Corporal Justin Cram is assigned down here now. So we have had made a change with some personnel in, well, quite a few of the towns actually, so.
I know Nelson has brought this up in the past, but there's nothing in here where it shows where there was any patrol work done in South Wallingford or in East Wallingford. Everything was like Main Street, Florence Avenue. It appeared there was just a loop around there. And one of the complaints I get from citizens all the time is the deputies sitting with a patrol car either at the fire station or at the rescue squad building. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but I hear.
Yeah, I do know they go there to use the restrooms, but other than
complaints
that, I'm
about
not
that
sure.
all the time, that they're just sitting there for an hour at a time. And, I mean, I know you guys aren't supposed to be a profit center for us or anything, but I mean, one warning and 2 fines in 49 hours, it just seems kind of lacking, in my opinion.
Yeah, which is part of the reason we had a personnel change, as far as motor vehicle work goes. So we're hoping to see an improvement with that. I know Justin's been down here for a
I
month. Yeah.
can say there has already been a significant change in that with the personnel change. That was part of some, excuse me, we do have a bit of a young department, so we are dealing with some growing pains with some younger employees. We're figuring out where strengths are, and that was a big portion of the personnel change, is we were adjusting different deputies to different towns based upon what the towns were looking for, what the deputies' strengths and weaknesses are, to try and better serve the towns for what they were looking for. So we have had, a couple of towns that were looking for a little bit different, and that's why we did those changes, which was about a month ago now. I believe it was right at the beginning of August. We did a deputy change in almost all of our towns. We only had one town that remained the same, and all the others had a switch up, so.
Officer Cram came in and introduced himself in here several weeks ago. And he's been here before. He was very good the last time, so. There you go.
I believe about 5 years ago, he was
Yeah.
assigned down here.
Yep.
So he's familiar with the area and some of the people, and so.
Has the car theft on Cook Drive straightened, been resolved, or is that still ongoing?
I'm not sure. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of the case. I've been on vacation for the last week and a half out of state, so I just came back today and I've been trying to catch up. I'm aware of the case. I have not had a chance to get into it today to take a look at it, which is one of the things I'm doing.
Get a little close to home, that's all.
After I leave here. Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I know there's been a lot of issues with some of the vehicle brakes lately. Here, Clarendon, Proctor, a few in Mendon, Killington area, so that's where some of our officers have been meeting with the state police, because they've been getting some of them, we've been getting some of them, there are suspects, so, just trying to put all the information together to try and, if we can, with all of us, be able to get those cases resolved as quickly as possible.
Just one other thing, appreciate you guys being in town. I live down, of course, on Cook Drive. I've pulled out of my driveway while going on, 3 times now, and coming north. Cars come around the corner off the Twin Bridges. 2 cars in a row. Of course, I've got, half a mile to pull out, so I'm not real worried about it. But as I pull out and head north, the car that's behind that other car pulls out to pass. They're doing 50 plus. I'm picking up speed. Nobody's got any place to go. It'd be greatly appreciated if you can kind of, just every once in a while, just watch that. It's no particular time. I've done it like 3 times now. About to give me a heart attack. But,
Is that radar sign still down by you?
Yes.
That needs to be changed.
The speed card, you mean?
Yes.
I moved it today. It's
Okay.
up by Shaw's as of today.
Oh, perfect.
Great, good, thank you. I think we've covered our concerns, so.
I'll have my office manager note on there that we got a couple hours of adjustment from the previous billings for those, definitely the officer at an hour thing, and an hour for stretching of the back and legs.
We appreciate you coming down and hearing us out. so.
Absolutely. Yeah, reach out with any questions or concerns you have, and if you've got a, like a speed area that needs focus on, we can get Justin down there and get some time on it, and hopefully see some changes on behavior. We can't control all of them, but get a few here and there, you might get a bigger adjustment.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks
Good
for
evening.
coming.
Good night.
So we're on to buyout program. So I know Sandy emailed around several forms the state wants signed. I hope everybody actually looked them over, because they pretty well want us to sign away our life. I mean, there's 26 different conditions that they want you to release on, and so it appears to me that if this goes through, I mean, we aren't gonna be able to do anything with that land, other than keep it mowed or something.
Well, ultimately, does it actually have to be kept like mowed, or can it go back to?
I was
Wild.
kinda confused on that,
Okay,
because it,
me
'cause
too,
there's
that's
a-
why I'm asking if
there's
you.
a bunch of maintenance conditions and, I mean, as long as everybody's good with it, but. Any comments, Sandy, on from you, or no?
I mean, if you have questions that you'd like me to run by Vermont Emergency Management before you sign, we can certainly do that. Maintenance questions, I mean, this is a long process, so if you want to table anything tonight, that's not going to interfere with anything. You want to watch, I mean, if you want to watch, because Justin's not here, and he may have questions, whatever you want to do. And in the interim,
like
if
to
you
know
read
if-
through them and want to email me questions that I can forward to Vermont Emergency Management, I can do that before the October meeting.
It'd be nice to know, I mean, like could you put a dog park there? Can you fence the property? Can you put even like park benches or something? If you were to try to make it a park? or-
What would be reasonable use of that land? Does it just become free open land, or can we do things like put benches or things on it?
I mean, maybe something simple like that,
Okay.
you know, because it's a flood. So you can't
Right.
do a lot.
Or, and you wouldn't want to do a lot?
Right, I mean, the fence might be an issue because of
Right.
It's the structure.
benches seem.
So, so my only question would be, at this time, why would it matter? Would we back out of letting them do the land buyout if we couldn't do anything with the land, or would we continue through with this? And if we're gonna continue through with it, we can deal with those questions after this is done and said and all done.
Well, the thing is, on tonight's agenda, they're looking for my signature on this stuff to agree to a lot of conditions that I don't believe I'm clear on all of them, so.
We could even invite, someone from emergency management to do a call-in, we could do.
Yeah, if you're not clear
attend
on all
virtually
the,
and answer some of the questions that you might have.
I would say, this is, this is a binding contract. We want to be clear on what it is. It doesn't mean we renege on our past decisions, just means that we want some clarity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to
Right.
the principle of this thing, I just. When they want you to sign 4 pages of legal documents that got all these clauses, it's,
I think just a few clarifying questions.
Is there anything that you feel more comfortable if the town attorney looked at all the first?
it might not be a bad thing. How does everybody else feel?
I don't know if that always warranted, but if it makes feel better, I mean, just to make sure everything is, I mean, it is a government document being sent to us, so it's, but it would be nice to know at some point along this, some of those things like, well, what is the expectations of us down the road?
Right.
Maybe after we get some responses from these initial questions, if we still have concerns, we could bring him in.
Okay. That sounds-
But I don't think
Yeah.
at this point.
So yours,
That sounds
I'll email a few questions, I'll wait a couple days, that way if anybody else, I'll contact Justin, see if he has any concerns, I'll email questions. Would you like him invited to a future meeting? Someone from emergency management?
Let's see what we get for responses from
All right.
email first. But
Okay.
Being the property owner that
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yes.
Is there any way that when people are notified or whatever, and you get the results of their questions, that we can be notified so we know what's going on?
sure, I'm sure Sandy will keep you apprised of things.
I would appreciate that, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you have any other questions for us at this point, or?
Other than I haven't received that paperwork that you've got in front of you yet, but I'm assuming that's coming, or
But emergency management told me that they sent everything directly to them.
Okay.
And they only sent it to me to, as a backup copy. But apparently they haven't gotten it, I think I think Donna said that she mentioned for spam
The
or
ones
something.
that we have, that was sent to us,
Right,
have the other property owner's
right.
address on it, not ours,
Oh.
okay? And that's the only thing that was in my email,
Yeah.
were those 3 attachments.
Brian McWaters is from Vermont Emergency Management. He's the one that said he sent everything directly to you. He then sent it to me as well, so.
The only thing I could think of is it went into spam mail or
Yeah,
something.
maybe. maybe.
Because I didn't get anything, okay.
And I can make copies of everything tonight, so you can read them over too, so you can
Yeah.
see what they're all talking about too.
That would be great.
I'll just stick it in the mail tomorrow for you.
Or I can come and pick it up.
Okay,
You know, that's-
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on, Tom.
Yes.
So, give us a report tonight.
Yeah, actually get your feedback on a couple different things. So the first thing listed, I think, is the Trex bench. So the Trex recycling, plastic recycling, we've been doing since the beginning of the year. So it runs in 6-month cycles. And the first 6 months, and you can get one bench every 6 months. So we primarily take from the transfer station, but I also pick up at Mill River High School as well. They've been doing it since we started on this. The first bench went to the transfer station, and the threshold for a bench is 500 pounds, and we diverted 2,200 pounds the first cycle, and we're already close to 1,000 in this cycle, so we've already crossed the threshold. So we're due for another free bench. The Conservation Commission was proposing that this next bench we give to the school. Every time I go in to collect their plastic, they ask me about the benches. So we're thinking, since school just started, this might be a good opportunity for them, and I was thinking we could talk to, coordinate with Deborah Gardner-Bash, who's my main contact there, and the librarians about trying to turn it into an opportunity to try to raise awareness amongst the students on recycling as well. So I wanted to check with you and see if that's okay. Then I anticipate our next bench would be February, and we would like to see that one come here to the town hall if possible. I know, Bruce, we at one point we considered putting some type of eye hook in the steps out front. That would give us some time to get that done. If we can't do that this fall, then the bench could potentially sit in the lobby here next winter until we get that in the spring and then move it outside. So I guess we wanted to get your alignment on us giving this next bench to the high school, if that's okay.
Fine by me.
Okay. And then the targeted fall cleanup, I think, is the other thing we had listed on the agenda tonight. So as you're aware, we support the spring green up day every year, and the Conservation Commission was thinking that there's some areas in the town that some of the more rural areas that have a lot of dumping that happens, right? It's next to impossible to get completely cleaned up during green up day. So we were thinking it'd be nice to have more of a targeted fall cleanup as well. We talked about enlisting the public's help in that, but we're thinking this first year, maybe just keep it to the Conservation Commission on a trial basis. The areas that we targeted initially are on Wallingford Pond Road. There's 2 sites on Wallingford Pond Road associated with the turnarounds, where it's quite bad. So we'd like to attack those ourselves, but we'd like to get your permission to take those, that material to the transfer station. So Carol still has green up day bags left over from previously. We could use those. Well, some of the stuff that's out there would probably be larger stuff that wouldn't go into bags that we just used to work with Art and Jerry on which bin it goes in. But we were hoping to get your support in terms of, I know that the support is there in the spring for green up day for putting this stuff in without a charge, but I wanted to see if it's possible to do this on a trial basis for the fall as well.
It's just like roadside trash you're talking
So,
about?
yeah, so in this particular case, my wife and I have been doing Wallingford Pond Road for the past couple of years on Green Up Day, and I know there's 2 spots. One is like a turnaround that's right along Bully Brook, where it's so easy for people to pull in and they just throw stuff over the side. So it's a steep hill there. There's a lot of stuff there. It's trash, but there's also there's broken toilets that are there, things like that. So the first year there were rat boxes, rat traps, like big plastic rat traps. So we got in touch with, it's technically Green Mountain Forest land right there. So we got in touch with them to come, and they finally came and got the rat traps and everything. But then the other spot is up, further up the road, on the left-hand side as you're heading up the road, right before the part where I think we don't maintain it in the wintertime. It's like it stops there and it goes to just.
Past Frederick's camp.
Yeah. I don't know what is Frederick's camp, but I think that's what.
It's the last camp before you get to the first beaver pond.
Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
Then there's a turnaround just back from there.
Yeah.
That's where the town turns the trucks a lot.
Okay.
It's a right-hand turnaround.
Yes.
Just at the crest of the hill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those two spots. Now, the pace, one a little bit further up, it looks like, I think when there was some logging up there, the loggers may have come in and buried some of that stuff, because it looks like there's new dirt down, and you can see the trash kind of peeking out from underneath it. So we probably, but there's still an opportunity to do some major cleanup there. So, I mean, down the road, we'll just find new spots that we want to target, but just want to do this on a trial basis this year. And I mean, we can talk about it next year, but I'm more in favor of keeping this like within the Conservation Commission, because I think it may just confuse the public I can enlist people's help both for Green Up Day and then, oh, what's this thing in the fall that we do now too? But this year, it's just a matter of trying it out on this one location, one or two locations on Wallingford Pond Road, and see how it goes.
I don't have any objections to you guys bringing the trash to the station. I mean, I know Dennis Duhame, is it Duhame? How do you say his last name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Joanne.
Oh, he brings in bags all the time and says it's stuff he's picked up along the roadside.
Oh, okay.
And Art,
Yeah.
and Art and Jerry just take it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that came up, other people mentioned the same thing, and since we're doing this as an official action of the Conservation Commission, I think it'd be good to get your alignment on dropping this off. It would just be Conservation Commission members who would drop it, and it'd be, it'd be one or 2 days that we drop it off. It wouldn't be a prolonged thing.
yeah, we could give Art and Jerry a heads up on
I
it.
will.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Okay.
The rest of the board's good with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's more of like you're aware what days it is, just so that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll lock in on the day, we have our meetings next Monday night, so we'll lock in on the day, and then I can let Sandy know, and we'll just make sure that Art and Jerry are cool with
Okay,
it.
sounds good, Tom.
So if you're focusing on that spot, you normally do on Green Up Day now, you'll do other days during Green Up Day, other areas, or just go back to the same spot?
Well, so I mean, so on Green Up Day, so I do that road every year, but these are like two locations.
Yeah, no, I just was curious if
Yeah, so I
what your
think,
plan was.
no, so the plan, I think, is just Green Up Day is always just whatever
Oh,
help we can get, and then whatever areas people think need cleaning up, we'll take that support. And then I think this is a supplemental effort by the Conservation Commission to just try to identify locations throughout the town that need a little extra care. And then somewhere down the road, we'll probably start thinking about maybe some signage as well. So if there's certain areas that tend to get more and more litter than others, maybe we can put up some signs. There's a lot of psychology around that as to, the carrot or stick, but we can look into that later. But right now, we just wanted to give this a try with this one cleanup in the fall. Okay, and then, real quickly, two other things. One other thing that we're working on is planting some trees at Stone Meadow. And the idea there was to put some deciduous trees along the trails. Most of them have trees around, except the ones there in the middle. And the problem is that there's a lot of weed whacking and mowing that happens in order to keep those trails open, because they're getting sun all the time and the weeds just grow up like crazy. So we wanted to try doing some tree lining along the main trail there. We talked about doing it all at once, then we thought, okay, let's do a trial basis, because it's an old stone quarry, so stuff doesn't grow real well. So we're gonna have to backhoe, pull some dirt, pull some stone out of there, put some topsoil in, plant the trees and see how it goes. We're gonna try 4 trees very close to the parking lot. We got a quote on a backhoe, so $500 for a half a day, so we can take that out of our budget. And then plant the trees and see how it goes. The reason I'm bringing it up to you is that if this trial works, we'd like to do it on a little bit larger scale over there. So I think we'll probably need some topsoil to, when we pull the rock out. Someone told us that it's all rock over there. I haven't done it personally. I don't know if you have experience doing that or not, but we probably need to backfill with some topsoil. I know on over on Sugar Hill, there's one spot where, when they were doing the gullies, they put a lot of extra topsoil. in it.
Yeah, fill, ditch cleanings.
Fill dirt, yeah.
Yeah.
So if down the road, there's some extra fill dirt that you're looking for a place to dump, we could take a load at Stone Meadow.
Yeah.
And then that would help us with our tree planting efforts.
They get a clean load, we can bring it over.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I mean, just right there, when you're looking at on Waldo Lane parking lot, we're thinking just right there off to the right-hand side as you're looking at the parking lot. So like, kind of like where the trash cans were. So I don't know that you can get the truck in any further than that, but.
Where the stones are.
It's a stone parking lot. Oh, the big boulders, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be over there within the next 2 weeks, cleaning the road edges.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna pave that first 200 yards coming into I call it the dump, Waldo Lane.
Okay.
So they should have material right there, we'll just bring it over and put it right there.
Okay. Now we can use that this year then.
Yeah, it'll be dumped over there, because they're just gonna pull the edges of
Yeah, that'd be great.
get it cleaned up, get the road cleaned out. So
Sounds good.
paved.
Thank you. And then the last thing, I know last month on the agenda, we had our mission statement, and I think Ralph was here and decided to hold off on actually submitting it. But that is in fact our mission statement, is to protect Wallingford's land, water, air, and biodiversity. And then the document is a little confusing, because the supporting document that we gave you, that's more of an internal commission document, just to help us track our progress and make sure that we're aligned on everything. What we were looking for was just a thumbs up on the mission statement. I think that's all that you asked for, I believe, from us. It seems like forever ago. You asked the commissions to kind of come up with a mission statement. So I just wanted to close that loop and see if we're okay to move forward with that mission statement. Or were you looking for more than that? Were you looking for something more than just that mission?
Recall the exact wording, but I mean,
Yeah, so it's protect Wallingford's land, water, air, and biodiversity. So,
it could be something we move on our next meeting.
okay. And if you need me to send it back to you, I can
Okay.
send it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Ballfield water installation. Shannon has an issue with the fact that we decided by consensus at the last meeting to postpone till spring.
Well, I don't think we actually had on the agenda that we were gonna talk about the water at the Ballfield.
It didn't need to be on the agenda, but there was nothing illegal about what we did.
We just moved the coin drop, but we didn't have it on the agenda.
Is there any difference?
What happened was Sandy updated us on Bill Dawson stating that it would probably be late October, if at all, before he could do it, because the ground was too wet. And in the course of that discussion,
Well, I know the point about doing the work now and just not turning on a meter right now was not brought up in our discussion. I hadn't thought of that. And maybe if there had been some people here on the rec committee to address that, we could have gotten that information out last week. And use that as part of the discussion.
well, I didn't really see what the urgency of doing this fall. If we do it now, you've got to turn around and pay a plumber again in the spring. Why not just wait till spring, you pay the plumber for one time being there?
I guess we just earmarked the money to be done. Now it was held up by the flooding. I don't see why we can't get the work done, but I don't know what other people think.
comment on this? Yeah, so we, I sent you all, my email isn't working that great, but I did send you all an update of like all of the times that REC has been here to get this approved and all of the delays that there have been along the way. And we just want to get it done, because who knows what will be different next spring that could, cause further delays or cause it to not happen at all.
The funds are there, like we allocated them, we budgeted for them. The funds are there, so we'd like to see it done like sooner rather than later, just to make sure it happens. And the people of Wallingford deserve access to water when they're at a public park. For sports teams, for people walking, for whatever reason. And we understand the idea of turning it on late in the season. Doesn't make a lot of sense because pipes freeze. I get all that, but I don't see a reason why we can't get the work done. We get it turned on in the fall. Turn it on in the spring. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We have a date with the plumber, I think, set. Like everything's set.
Yeah, so I called Bill Lawson. He can do the work October 9th.
So we just would like to get it done.
And I also talked to the water district and they said it's totally fine to not install the meter until the spring. So.
We just don't see the need for a hold up since all these other pieces are in place.
And now our chair has resigned because, he sent a letter, but, out of frustration from this being delayed over and over and over and over again. We shouldn't have to keep coming to meetings and like debating this over and over again when you've already approved it. The one person who didn't approve it was Bruce, who keeps bringing it up to cancel it again, so.
I'm not bringing it up to canceling.
But, who knows what will be different in the spring, like, we just don't know.
Several of the delays are your guys' own fault.
How's that?
Some of it has been weather.
What was our fault?
You were directed way back in July to go ahead and do this.
So you'll have to read the comments that we came on, okay, let me read my comments since you brought that up.
I was also under the impression that you folks had approval to do it back in at least a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And it never got done.
So
And now and now Bruce is, I'm kind of with him that now it's late in the year, we don't have any more activities down there, or if we do, they're limited. Why wait till spring? But I guess my concern is why wasn't it done back a few months ago?
Okay, I'll
when you
explain
had
that.
permission to do it.
So June 5th, we came and said we had surplus funds that we wanted to spend on water at the Ballfield and the security system. That was approved. That was all the approval we should have needed. It was said in the minutes from that meeting that Kathy had said something about that we needed to obtain 3 bids to be presented to the select board for approval, but that wasn't actually what was said. If you look at the meeting, what you said was that we needed to review 3 quotes, and Sumio said, yeah, 2 or 3 depending, and I said it was hard to get quotes these days because contractors are busy. Outside of a meeting, Bruce called Sumio and said that we needed to get additional approval for contractors. Now, if you read the town's purchasing policy, it's very clear that between $1,500 to $5,000, what you need is approval to spend the money. Projects over $5,000 need a formal bid process and a contract approved by the select board. This project falls in the $1,500 to $5,000. So we shouldn't have even needed another round of approval. So either way, we came back again, July 19th, or June 19th, after Bruce said that we needed for the select board to approve the contractor, so we did that. Then Sandy was away for 2 weeks, which was why we didn't do the project, was because we couldn't get a contract in place with the contractors. We set it up for the week Sandy got back from vacation so that we could get the contract written. We scheduled it for July 10th, which was the day of the flood, which was the day it was supposed to happen. So that's why it hasn't gotten done.
I mean, I personally, I don't want to make this about any one person or intentionally holding things up, but we have the funds, we have a contractor in line to do it, we're not spending any money that you guys didn't already approve, there's legitimate delays in the process, we just think it would be useful through the town to have this done, checked off the list, water's fixed, we turn it on next year, and we're good. In the spring, when spring sports start, when people want to have access to water, when it starts to get hot in, May and June. I don't want to rehash why it was delayed. Here's a moment we can just agree not to delay it any further. I think that is a reasonable thing we can all do. Dawson can do it, so I don't understand the holdup at this point. If we don't turn the water on, I don't see the reason we hold it up.
My only objection is that you're gonna pay twice for a plumber.
Turn the water on?
If you turn the water on, you'll have to pay a plumber to come in, install the meter.
Okay. But don't we have to do that anyway right now to install the meter at this point anyway?
If you do in the spring, it's all part of one project.
I think it would be helpful to just get it done, and we could get the meter installed in the spring.
Yeah, and I think it's telling that our chair resigned over this. You know, it's been a frustrating process, to say the least, of like, you know, between meetings, you know, going back and forth on what we need to do and what we don't need to do, and, you know, it shouldn't be that way. And I can understand why you're confused why it hasn't happened yet, because, yeah, I mean, we're wondering the same thing.
I make a motion that we allow the work to install water down at the Ballfield be done now, and that the meter will be installed in the spring.
Second.
Can I just-
Discussion?
Yeah, I just have one
Yeah.
question on that. Now, since, the plumber said he would do the other part, would that be, because one of the concerns is paying twice, would his initial fee be one set of, and then the other fee would be the other part, like would be dividing up what we'd be paying him?
Probably, I mean, I assume that in his bid, he was planning on installing the meter.
So if
I mean,
he's not completing that, the original, so his bid would be divided?
I mean, we would have to confirm that with him, but
I mean, I would think, you know,
The other question, what's gonna happen if they dig the hole and the water table's still too high? Because we haven't had a dry spell that Bill talked about yet. It's been raining constantly.
The sad thing is we may not next spring do though. So I feel like it would be, now would be the time to do it. If we come to spring, you know, we come dig the hole, find it's an issue, who's to say it wouldn't be an issue in April or May?
I think it would be much less of an issue in spring.
I don't know if that's true, but
I mean, the rivers are down.
regardless, I feel like if we throw what if scenarios at this, we could do that forever.
If you do the water, you reconnect the water, put the meter in now, water's gonna get shut off in the winter.
That's what I was wondering about too.
Well, the meter was just gonna sit there idle, don't need to pull the
You
meter.
can't leave the meter in there for the winter. It'll ruin the meter,
Oh,
and they're $350.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah, I was wondering that very
so we have to
question.
wait then.
But the meter's just a pocket place meter, right? I mean, I don't know what they use for meters, but.
It has to be plumbed in.
So the meter itself's a permanent fixture, or is it just a housing that's a permanent fixture?
The meter is a permanent fixture, I assume. I mean, in my house, the meter is connected into the line as it comes through my basement wall,
Right,
and it's a permanent installation.
okay. But if we install the meter now, they use it next, and it sits there all winter, and they use it next summer, do we have to disconnect that meter next winter?
Yes, you're gonna have to do
You have
this
to pull that
every
meter
year.
every,
Every year, you're gonna have to disconnect this
Without-
meter. And then in the spring, put it back in.
A soldered meter, like plumbed in, have to be taken out every year?
No, they're unions.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
just threaded unions.
So it's
Just
a threaded
unscrew it.
iron.
Yeah,
So it's
unscrew
not-
it, pull the meter.
It's not a
Yeah, you just
sig-
unscrew it,
Yeah,
stick
it's
it on the
not a
counter,
It's not a significant job. and-
back in the spring, screw it in.
Right.
If they don't energize it this fall, there would be no reason to pull it. As long as they don't turn the water on, it'd be a dry line.
That's what I thought. But thank you for clarifying, because I don't know exactly what this looks like. It seems implausible you'd have to disconnect it like in some manual way that would be,
No,
require a plumber.
there's two unions.
yeah.
They usually shut off top and
That's
bottom.
what I figured, yeah.
And they pull the unions.
Yeah. Okay. So everything could be set up, just no meter put in place now, and then next spring, bolt the meter on, turn the water on, and we're good.
We can do all the plumbing accordingly right now.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like.
All they have to do is set a meter and
Then just don't put it in.
Right, that's what it sounds to me like.
So do I need to amend my motion?
To what?
It's the same.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it as is.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So, install the water now and then the meter in the spring?
Well, it sounds like all the plumbing can go in now,
Done now.
right? All the plumbing can go in
why
now.
not? If they're not turning the water on, the line's gonna be dry.
Right,
It's not energized.
right.
The meter won't have any reason
Okay.
to freeze.
That's what I was thinking.
So you're doing all the plumbing and the meter now, just not turning it on?
That sounds perfect.
You can't leave the meter there for the winter.
Well,
Well, you take the meter out.
do all the plumbing, set it up, test it, not even test, throw the water in it, make sure it's physically right position, right, and then take it back
Just
off.
take it back out.
Right,
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. That sounds perfect. That's a good compromise, I think.
All those in favor of doing the work, or her motion?
aye.
Aye.
I vote no. So are you gonna hire, because initially you said we were gonna have a road crew do this too. You intend to hire somebody to do this now? Because Phil has said before the road crew wouldn't be available.
Our crew's gonna be busy now they got a new grader. That's one thing they're gonna be for a while.
How deep is the hole needs to be dug, and how much is it?
Well, I don't know where they're splicing into, it's only about 5 feet in.
It's 5 feet down, it's right next, it goes right by the snack
I
shack.
mean, someone could just,
Cause it's one that goes to the old frostery faucet that's over there.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll come down with a shovel and dig a hole for 5 feet deep, that's not that deep, really.
Well,
I
it's
know, I'm
all
just saying,
rock.
like, I think we can do
It's all
it.
rocks.
Yeah.
well, I mean, we did approve having, Rowing do it, but because in the July meeting, you decided to have the road crew do it, that check wasn't written out. So, I mean, we could do that, we'll just have to come out of this year's budget, which wasn't the whole plan all along, but, you know, here we are at the 5th meeting discussing this, trying to figure out how to simply get water turned on at the park. Awfully complicated.
When's Lawson's, what's gonna come to, have the date on that?
October 9th.
October 9th? So the hole we need to be dug before October 9th, is that correct?
And now you're saying the road crew can't do it?
I'm not sure they'd have time to do it. It's just, it's hit or miss whether it'd be a half a day to do something like that at that time.
What do you think? You think it might be possible?
That's up to the select board if they want to volunteer them to do that. We did
We
before.
already volunteered them.
I know, that's
Whether or
a
not-
tough thing to back out of now, I feel.
Well, we can hire Rowan then, I mean, it's up to you folks how you wanna handle that, but, you know, that was a decision that you made, that
Yeah,
now
then
sounds not
it's,
plausible.
I think it's probably the cheaper route to do if we let the road crew do it, taking a half a day or a day or whatever it takes, and get it done, and be done with it.
Yeah, I like the
And that-
permanency of this. Once we do it, we should be good.
It's done.
Yep,
Not have to worry about whether or not somebody's gonna show up or not.
yep,
The
agreed.
road crew, I don't know what the ninth
The
is.
The ninth, you said?
It's a Monday.
Yeah, so that's-
Let's make plans that the road crew is available on the ninth to do
yeah.
that.
You actually only need
One,
one person down there with
yeah,
the
still run
excavator,
the
so.
other two.
Bill, I appreciate you making that work for
Yeah.
us.
Well, it's, we promised it once.
But still,
We
you
should
know,
do
I
it.
know you got stuff to do, I mean, especially after the floods and all. Yeah, for sure. And a new toy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta wear it out.
yeah.
Why don't you get your flashy lights on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds awesome.
Okay, we're on to preliminary designs for erosion reduction project.
Thanks for your insight, Paul.
Everybody on the board reviewed them. comments or questions, people?
So Tom has offered any questions, we would filter them to him, the select board, the rec, and conservation, and he would sort through them to see if there's any duplicate questions and create one kind of package so that we can then send to Fitzgerald.
Yeah, all the comments that we've gotten back from the Conservation Commission are just basically email comments. No one's embedding them in the document, so that's what made it, I don't know what you've been seeing from other groups, but if that's the case, it's very easy to just pull these together. I don't know if they necessarily need them embedded in their document in order to filter through them, and if they can probably get the gist of it at Fitzgerald.
I see they have an initial budget for the actual construction of $59,790.
Yeah.
Well, from what I can see, the plans look fine to me. Any other discussion on this?
I came in after the fact, so hold judgment.
Okay. I mean, okay, I guess we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Do you have anything, Carol?
Well, I was just, it's just more of a, trying to visualize. The fishing dock looks like it's in the middle of the beach, is that? Will that affect the swimming at the beach?
The fishing dock will be
That's what I'm
off
trying to like.
to
Do you
the,
want me to explain it? Because I.
Yes, please.
So that was part of the design, was to make the beach smaller. And
Okay.
to basically make that like a tiered vegetated,
Okay.
like vegetated with native vegetation, so that'll be like boulder retaining wall. And so you can probably sit there'll be like some like native plantings and trees and stuff, but it won't be like an expansive beach, because what's happening now is it's all just eroding, because that's the steep section, and that's where all the runoff comes. So the idea was to like stabilize that and have people congregate more to the left, but use that area more for like fishing,
Okay.
so.
Just was curious, because like in the
Yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
it's just like, what?
Yeah, no, it's a great question.
Thank you.
what's that? Moving on, proposed zoning regulations. So Erica is looking for approval to send the proposed zoning regulations to the Regional Planning Commission, is it, Erica?
CLT, Vermont League of Cities and Towns. It was at the Regional Planning Commission when Ed Bogue reviewed it. The Planning Commission added his suggestions to it. They made other suggestions. We have compared our proposed regulations against Proctor's and against West Rutland, because West Rutland just went through it. They sent it before the VCLT, so we use that as a measurement. The Planning Commission last week decided that we've done just about everything. One of the other comments that was in one of the public hearings was, have you sent this through the VCLT? And we'd like to do that, just to make sure that it covers everything. The problem is Vermont is changing statutes, according to some people, almost daily. So we just wanted to be sure that we're not outside of anything and that we haven't missed anything. Then bring it back, present it for public hearing again before we move it on.
Actually has to come to the board first, doesn't it?
Not really. It can go in any of those directions at any time. We can have a public hearing, send it to the VCLT, depending on what the public hearing comes and everything. But the thing is, if the VCLT requires major changes, then everything stops and we have to go through that whole routine all over again.
And once it comes to the select board, it doesn't have to go to one more public hearing prior to
Exactly.
being passed? Okay.
Exactly. So what the planning commission would like to do is make sure that all the Ts are crossed, all the Is, you know what I'm saying. Everything is done. In case there's any questions or anything, that we can say, yes, this has been reviewed by, and the recommendations, if there are any, were placed, not placed.
Is there a cost for them to do this or no?
We're investigating that. I really haven't, I don't know. I'm sure there would be, but I can't imagine it would be an outrageous amount.
I think you got an idea.
Yeah.
Put another set of eyes on it.
Yep.
We need a motion, or can we just do this by consensus?
Do you wanna, if you wanna do it by consensus, but do you wanna see if, what the cost will be first? There will be a cost, I'm just not sure what it is.
Mhm.
We have funds anywhere budgeted for that? No?
Not that I know of. The planning commission doesn't have a budget.
Well, let's see what it costs and then we can make a formal decision at the next meeting.
Is that okay?
Work for you?
Yeah.
Recreation Committee resignation, so Sumio has resigned from the Rec Committee. Do we want to accept his resignation?
Did you all see his letter?
Yes.
We've never denied anybody.
Right.
I hate to see him go, because there's been way too many people resigning from the Recreation Committee over the last few years.
Yep.
And I can see why.
It's similar,
Yeah.
with similar complaints.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we accept his resignation.
Second?
Those in favor? Sandy, can you send him a letter of thanks
I will.
from the board?
Yes.
Town hall bids on, this was tabled from the last meeting. We have learned that the one bid that we did receive has obtained insurance,
Okay.
Which is good.
Oh, good.
and it will add $600, was it, to the,
Yes.
Somewhere I have that. There it is. So Kevin McNally?
Yep, Kevin McNally.
You want to speak to this?
I don't have much to say about it. We showed the individual the project, and that's really, and modified the bid documents for, before it went out to bid. Shortened them for painting.
Yep.
Yeah,
This is for the painting.
that was my involvement.
Do I have a motion to hire the painting and caulking of the exterior of the building?
I make a motion to, accept bid for the painting of town hall. And extra work.
I see he's estimating to begin August 1st of next year. Are we good with that?
See, on the scope of work, he crossed out the clock tower and the clock face and hands, just so we know he's not gonna do that. And he wrote caulk major masonry cracks and caulk leak over entryway, which he found. So that's additional work that wasn't included in there, which is kind of nice.
Is there-
Second? I'll
Yeah.
second it.
Thank you.
So was there changes to this versus what he originally gave us, or?
You know, it's just, he crossed out a couple things like the insurance, but I think that's the one thing I see that he crossed out was the insurance, but we've rectified that now, so, we will, depending on your vote, we'll come up with a contract anyways. We'll review that too, and both parties will have to sign it, so make sure everything's in there.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you speak?
Oh, sorry. Bye, Erica.
Ken, you were going to speak to the two insulation proposals that we have?
Yes. Well, specifically, any questions that you have? Just as a preface, that I was a little disappointed that we didn't get 3 bids on it. John Buckles apparently decided not to, don't know for what reason, but the 2 bids we have were both under my preliminary estimate, which I was glad to see, and they're both quality contractors. I've had many years of experience with both of them, and I would recommend either one of them without hesitation. However, the bids do require a little interpretation, as you might have noticed.
Was one of these guys proposing to take and build a room around the electrical panels?
Well, yeah, just one. No, actually, both did. But the way I set it up with the addenda was that it would be an additional item separate from the base bid. Eric Solsa broke his out in his estimate. It's a $5,900 item that he has, an add-on. Bob Reuter, the other bidder, is silent. Although the note that he wrote in his bid said that it includes everything, including the addenda items. So I am to assume that that would be a question that I would want answered personally before you make a decision as to who to go with. That's one of the questions I have. And the reason that it's significant is because it's a pretty big chunk of that wall. We're insulating the whole wall and leaving, if we don't do anything there, it's essentially compromising the integrity of the whole installation. Having said that, something that Eric Salsa addressed that Bob Reuter didn't was that Eric is offering to build exterior storm windows on all the windows that are down there. And that's a far more important item that needs to be addressed that he included in his bid, and Reuter was silent on that. So that's part of the complications of the bid, and not apples and apples, unfortunately.
Do you have a recommendation, Ken?
It would be a tough one, but I would go with Eric Salsa. Mainly because Eric is a better building analyst, and he's also a home performance builder. He builds high performance homes. So, and I've seen a lot more of Eric's work than Bob Reuter. And I'm not putting Bob's down, but Eric is just a better contractor.
Eric did weatherization work in our house. Our house is incredibly cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And that is a big improvement over what we had before. I can say that he did excellent work at our house.
And did he ask for any extras, or did he stick with his base bid?
He stuck with this.
He did, yeah, that was my experience.
What he estimates is what he does.
Yeah.
In our case.
Yeah, and that's the main reason. Like I said, I have more experience with Eric than I do with Bob. The experience I do have with Bob was good. There were no issues. But Eric is far more capable of dealing with complex situations than Bob Reuter is. So based on that, I would recommend that you go with Eric and not do the build that wall around the panels, because he's going to build exterior storms for you, which is more important, in my opinion, than insulating that 6-foot of wall.
Okay. So to take the 5,900 out of the bid?
Yes.
Which would lower it to something around 24 something. Yes.
Well, Eric offered two options, as we asked in the addenda.
Okay.
The Thermax option would be 24.8. The spray foam would be 26.2.
26.2.
And in light of that, I would recommend that we stick with our original Thermax.
So this out 26.2?
24.8.
24.8.
Yes. And like I said, don't do the panel wall. That will drop 5,900 out of the project saving.
Just wanted to be clear on that we're dropping that out.
24.8 would be the bottom line for
Okay.
Eric. And that's a really good price in my estimation. It's like $6,000 under what I estimated. maybe the price of materials dropped, but I'm happy it did. I didn't go the other way.
I'm glad you agree about not putting the walls up around the electrical panel. I was not comfortable with that at all.
Well, it seemed like if the price were like a lot less, I'd feel more comfortable doing it, but the windows are far more of an issue than that section of wall. And, you know, sealing the clock tower is going, number one, that's your biggest problem right there. Once that's sealed, it's gonna make a world of difference. And when you add the windows outside, and the fact that Eric, I feel really comfortable that you can leave Eric alone and he's gonna do a wonderful job.
I make a motion that we accept the bid from Salsa Building and Energy Solutions.
With the exclusion of the $5,900.
With the exclusion of the $5,900.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got just a question, just reading through this. They're gonna put a wall in front of the communication space downstairs?
No, he mislabeled that. It's the electrical panels he was
Okay,
talking
all right,
about.
all right.
And
Reading as you guys were talking,
yeah, we dropped that. That's no longer part of the project.
because that might be a problem, to close in that equipment. I don't think they've got air conditioning in it. They got
No.
fans, but no air conditioning.
Well, I contacted, was it NYNEX? Is that
AT&T.
AT&T early on in our investigations? And I was concerned about that because when we're spraying foam, there's going to be overspray in the air and that could plug
Yeah,
their intake. So in the discussion with their authorized rep, he said just cover it with a filter fabric or something
yeah.
and that'll be fine.
Some people just put a plastic barrier around it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not permanent.
Yes. So that was a
They're
big,
all real creative when they're doing that, but yeah, that spray foam will.
oh, it goes
suck it in,
everywhere.
it'll be solid.
Yeah. And speaking of that, in Eric's proposal, he's offered to do this at night and weekends to accommodate you folks. And he will have exhaust equipment when he's spraying so that there'll be minimal impact with the spray foam. It's always a concern when you're using spray foam, particularly when it gets to be a little cold. I think if we do this within the next 3 to 4 weeks, you'll be in good shape. Won't have to worry about that.
So I would like to amend my motion to accept the bid for Salsa Building and Energy Solutions minus the $5,900 for the price of $24,800.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on this, Ken.
Thanks.
Next step is heat pumps. See ya.
Thanks, Ken.
See ya.
See you, Ken.
Town Hall building use request. So, we have a request from
Roxanne.
building use request from Roxanne Rama of Shrewsbury to use the town hall once a month for string quartet rehearsals. She's requested a fee waiver.
Hey, Tom.
Thank you.
Yes.
There's various
Tuesdays.
dates as scheduled.
Will that affect any business?
I really don't think so.
Make sure it's guys.
Yeah,
Be nice.
Make sure. Yeah. Just it might be nice.
Might not either.
It's practice after all.
I think it will mostly be nice. I know Roxanne, we playing the same, in fact, she's playing an orchestra rehearsal tonight, I'm not. Yes.
I just wanna make sure you know, this is a business and coming in, that disruptive, especially like this on hall and for the,
So it's a
Records.
quartet, so it's 4 people?
Yes, it's 4 people.
Are any of them town residents?
Stephanie is, right?
Well, Stephanie is a town resident,
Coach.
yes.
Did you give the names of the other?
I know the cello player, Stephanie's playing with them, and then you have, a player from Granville, New York.
I guess my only thing would maybe approve this conditionally, because if it starts to affect the business downstairs, I'm thinking they have to.
So then conditional?
In case there's,
I-
complaints that people have to come in here.
I know because Roxanne told me she was putting in this request, and the reason why she's reaching out to Town Hall first is that there are other locations that she could, access, but she might not always have, like I said to her, the Congregational Church, places like that, but they would have to come and open the space for her. The Town Hall is open, which is why she thought of this.
Yeah, I have no problem using it, it's just if it starts to affect the business
Yep.
downstairs, then, you know, the business of the town, we have to rethink
Do
this.
we need a motion on this, or? Or are we doing it by consensus
I think we need
with
a
the
motion.
conditional? We need a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I second.
With the understanding that it's conditional?
Yes. That if it affects town business in an adverse way, that they'll have to find a different location.
You want, and what about the fees?
Weird fee or not? What is the fee normally? I've forgotten.
There's like $25.
Yeah, it's, usual pay of fee of $25, damage deposit of $75. Security's $25.
What do you think?
Here for what, 4 hours?
You're signing it up for 4 hours.
And how frequent? We do this. We don't know. That's one of those things we normally.
We normally charge people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we normally.
Yeah.
I think if we do charge the fee, the people will take it seriously about abiding by the rules and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd say the consensus is that we don't waive the fee. And actually, they're getting a bargain because this is normally one-time use, that price. So
Oh, yeah.
if they're gonna do it once a month, they're getting a deal,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
Okay,
okay.
we set on that. What's
It was for nothing to approve it, but with no waiver. Is that right?
a waiver and the conditions
Right.
becomes a problem. Select board comments or concerns?
I have one question.
Yes.
My little peanut ant brain forgot. Sandy and I talked about it earlier, about selling the old International. We talked about that months ago, and then it just kind of got dropped, and Julie brought it up to us. Sandy reminded me the other day, and I've already forgot.
Thought we approved doing that.
I thought we did too, but I wasn't sure. All right,
Yeah.
so should we put it out on whatever the sites are Sandy does?
Does it matter, I mean, it didn't go through the flood or anything? It didn't get?
No.
Okay.
No. Never that lucky.
All 3 inches of water around it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sandy can just put it out on whatever.
It's closed bids. I presume like we did the last truck. They sent them to Sandy. They opened them in a meeting. I presume that's what it
Is
is.
that how it's been done in the past, Sandy?
Yeah, I mean, I think,
But are you advertising it?
I think we just advertise this one for sale. I mean.
And they just sent the
We
bids?
just do it for, until, I think we had to just advertise it for sale until somebody gives you an offer. And
Do we want to say minimum offer?
do you have a dollar amount? Do you have a dollar amount? Just kidding.
Yeah. No, because I don't,
It must have some minimum value, I mean.
Right.
oh yeah, it should be worth $7,500, I would think. But,
Let's set a minimum at $7,500 then.
if you don't get a bite, you can always come down,
Okay.
Right.
That's true. That's what I would do. Start high and go low.
And it runs?
No,
No, that's right, this is the one with the engine, yeah.
yeah, there's no motor in it, it doesn't run, it's tore apart.
But still,
Okay.
people buy them
Yeah, the right person, it may be just what they want.
exactly. Maybe they've got a good engine and need to put it in a body.
Yep.
Hey, you never know what could happen, right?
Coincidences, it's amazing.
Right,
The stars may align.
right.
I don't think so, not with this one.
That looks pretty good from the outside.
Yeah, it does look good.
Friday, maybe somebody will steal it.
Yeah, that's the problem, it doesn't run, if it ran, it might.
Taking cars now, so.
Okay, back to select board comments and concerns. Anybody got?
I would say my one concern is that we keep having resignations on the recreation committee. And is there anything that we can do to not have as many resignations from the rec committee?
I know one of their complaints is just feeling like they're not getting, they have to jump through more than other committees have to. You know, that is one thing that's been brought up a number of times, you know. I know we started to ask for other admissions, but that is the perception of that they're asked to do more things and than other committees.
But of all the
Departments.
committees, they also have the largest budget.
I know. I mean, it goes both ways.
Right, so it takes a little more scrutiny, but it needs to stop in the past. I mean, I know why people resigned in the past. Honestly, I'm not sure why this water issue even got this far this year, because it was approved to do it back in July. All they had to do was just pick a date and do it and not keep bringing it up and back to, just, that should have been done as soon as the water table, dropped. Whether it was, July, August, September, now, whenever, it shouldn't even have been back to the board.
Right.
in my defense too, when I talked to Sumio on the second time about this, Sumio said he was giving the entire ball to Shannon. And nothing happened after that, so she can blame me all she wants, but, I mean, if we're gonna talk about a rec committee, I would like to say that I am really frustrated with the rec committee because it seems like all they ever come up with is they wanna spend money on facilities, and they have not done anything that is actually a recreational activity for people in town.
Well, it sounds like, some of the problems that they came up with, some of their activities were insurance-based? Is that correct?
Or what?
Well,
Insurance-based?
one activity. They brought up one activity
But
and,
they also brought up some other activities, like bringing back the dancing, bringing up some yoga things. That can happen, some other activities, so I think they are starting to try to address that.
There's
Yeah.
just also such turnover, there's been such turnover in the last, I mean, how many rec chairs have we had in the last year? What, 4?
one, Sumio.
Well, there was
Sumio,
Morgan.
Brian, Morgan, and I was thinking, there was probably one on between.
Trish get done.
Yeah.
Well, what's her name too here? Owns a block.
Michelle.
And Bastion was too at one point.
Yeah.
We're just going through, I mean, there's been a complete clean out, so I mean, I understand
Yes,
that it's hard to, they start getting plans and that's,
But they're dealing with a lot of things that
yeah.
they shouldn't either. I mean, if you look at their agenda, the last 3 or 4 times they've had insurance on there. That's none of their concern. If the select board or our insurer states that we have to follow policies, that's not the concern, other than that they follow the policy. Instead, they want to debate us with it. I don't know, I'll let it go with that at this point. Other business.
Anything else?
Just that we included the fiscals so far for the year
Oh, yeah.
in your packet, so. That, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it. Okay, go
All
ahead.
in
you can have that
favor?
one.
Too late.
All in favor?
Aye.
Argue over and
We are adjourned.